How does a fairy tale princess crash harder than her own villain? That billion-dollar riddle shadowed Disney all through spring 2025. Snow White strode into March with billboards promising magic reimagined for a new age and shuffled out of theaters so hollow you could hear the popcorn machine wheeze. The studio once bragged that this remake would modernize wonder. Instead, it staged one of the loudest public meltdowns Hollywood has seen. In the months ahead, we'll unpack every brittle layer. But first, a glance at the storm clouds that gathered before opening night. Disney's press blasts talked up courage, kindness, and 21st century storytelling. Billboards towered over Times Square. QR code posters in London teased a revolutionary vision. Trade insiders whispered about executives leaving test screenings, weeping with pride. Yet the same insiders leaked darker rumors, ballooning reshoot budgets, icy chemistry between the leads, and audience score surveys that read like weather warnings. Meanwhile, social media split into warring camps. Supporters hailed a Latina Snow White as long overdue representation. Critics blasted Disney for chasing hashtags over heritage. TikTok dissected every leaked set photo, zeroing in on the missing dwarfs and the strangely rustic costumes shot on a rain-slick backlot in Bedfordshire. By premiere week, the online temperature felt more courtroom verdict than fan fever, yet even the harshest doom poster couldn't predict how fast that verdict would land, or how deeply it would shake Disney's live-action machine. And that's where our story begins, in the yawning gap between sky-high expectation and earth-shaking reality, in the echo that rings out when the applause never starts. Keep watching. Every twist feels stranger than fiction, yet every detail is painfully real. March 25th, 2025. Rachel Zegler should have floated into her coronation. Instead, when she tiptoed into a suburban multiplex with a half-dozen ride-or-die friends, rows of unclaimed seats stared back like blank pages. Somebody whipped out a phone to salvage the moment with a quirky Instagram bit. It backfired. The "2 tickets please" meme collapsed when the clerk, confused, muttered, "For which movie again?" Zegler's entourage flashed souvenir cups and forced laughter that echoed around the auditorium, and that echo became the punchline. Clips showed them cheering her name on screen. The only reply was the projector's hum. Another story captured the concession stand looking VIP because there was no line. Within hours, the internet paired the footage with clown music. The hashtag number sign empty white rocketed past 1 million mentions before Disney's PR team finished morning coffee. Chicago's River East 21 sold fewer than 24 seats for its first primetime show. A Minneapolis manager admitted he'd never seen so many aisle seats free on opening night for a Disney musical. Even Orlando, Disney's own backyard, looked barren. Investors felt the tremor. Disney stock dipped a full % the next day. The film hadn't even tallied weekend receipts, and already the storyline had shifted from modern Marvel to public ghost town. Family films seldom dominate Thursday previews, but Disney still expected a healthy bite. Instead, the movie nibbled a meager $3.5 million, a figure so thin analysts triple-checked the decimal. By Sunday, domestic grosses limped to $43 million, barely half of The Little Mermaid's launch 2 years prior. International rollout added scant oxygen. The worldwide total struggled toward $88 million by Monday. Analysts dusted off grim arithmetic. Production near $270 million. Marketing rumored at another $140 million. Conventional wisdom said the break-even sat north of $650 million. Snow White hadn't crawled past 100. Week 2 hammered the coffin closed. Attendance down 66%, empty seat map screenshots trending on TikTok. One creator counted 14 people in a Friday night IMAX in downtown LA. Meanwhile, France tried luring families with a discount crepe combo. The promo still sold fewer tickets than an anime rerun next door. Columnists compared the trajectory to The Lone Ranger, except this time, no one could blame a Western. A Deadline writer quipped, "The only thing coming is the quarterly earnings call, and it won't be a fairy tale." Rachel Zegler's journey from Disney darling to internet punchline might become textbook. Fresh off a Golden Globe and Spielberg praise, she seemed bulletproof. Then the sound bites rolled in. She called the 1937 original weird, branded Prince Charming basically a stalker, and mused that audiences would line up to see whatever I do. Twitter erupted. Montage videos titled "How to Ruin a Classic in One Interview" topped 1 million views. Old live streams resurfaced, each clip more combustible than the last. Fan edits paired her "They'll line up for me" with shots of cavernous auditoriums. She gained followers, hate follows, PR analysts noted, but favorability collapsed. Authenticity, the trait Hollywood claims to crave, had mutated into its own wrecking ball. Inside Disney, the panic was audible. Producer Mark Platt reportedly flew coast to coast, twice begging his lead to dial it back. At Disney's D23 Expo, she'd already sparked a political firework. Executives in the wings traded looks that said, did she really just go there? When Platt's brother Jonah vented on Instagram, narcissism is not something to be coddled. Publicists nearly fainted. The post vanished, but screenshots live forever. Reshoots quietly chewed through another $40 million. Test audiences yawned at a new agency-driven ending where the kiss disappeared. Disney couldn't decide whether to lean harder into the modern spin or retreat. Someone floated delaying to late summer. Accountants killed the idea. Interest on production loans would add 8 figures. March 1st brought a last-ditch Twitter ad offering 2-for-1 preview tickets. Loyalists felt insulted. Skeptics smelled panic. The needle never budged. Gal Gadot, cast as the evil queen, became collateral damage. Relations were icy from the start. Zegler had once dismissed Gadot as a professional pageant queen, a quip that landed like a poisoned apple. And their shared presenter slot at the 2025 Oscars looked like 2 rivals stapled into a 3-legged race. Then politics blew the lid clean off. Zegler's Free Palestine posts, ordinary statements in another context, detonated here. Gadot, Israeli and a former IDF soldier, received death threats so credible Disney bankrolled round-the-clock protection for her and her 4 kids. Trailer cuts minimized shots featuring both women in the same frame. A day before release, Zegler posted a gushy tribute naming every crew member except Gadot. Commentators counted 13 tags and 0 for the Queen. Omissions spoke louder than shade. Entertainment shows ran split-screen comparisons of Gadot's past press tours. Warm, hug-heavy, with the glacier forming around Snow White. The fuse that finally reached the dynamite was a 9-word Instagram story, fired off days after the U.S. presidential election. May Trump supporters never know peace. F. Donald Trump. Screenshots went viral before sunrise. Disney's risk team flagged the post. Platt hopped another red-eye. Zegler agreed, again, to social media babysitting. But archived comments never die. Analysts mapped her posting spikes against drops in Fandango pre-sales. Every tweet seemed to cost tickets. Conservative pundits framed the fiasco as "get woke, go broke." Progressive writers argued the backlash revealed audiences' discomfort with outspoken women of color. Silent parents simply chose a different Friday night movie. By premiere weekend, Posttrack's definite recommend score sat at 21%. Lower than last year's Haunted Mansion and The Dwarfs, they were missing in action. Peter Dinklage's 2022 blast about 7 dwarfs living in a cave pushed Disney to promise a different approach. The solution? Swap the dwarfs for CGI forest friends. Dwarf actors erupted. Jackass Alum Weeman posted a tearful TikTok accusing Disney of erasing scarce roles. Leaked renders looked stiff and uncanny. Comment sections joked they resembled Skyrim NPCs crash landing in a Hallmark movie. Kids couldn't remember their names because they had no names. Progressive pundits accused Disney of tokenism. Traditionalists decried vandalism. Dwarf advocates lamented lost opportunity. The remake had managed to alienate every corner of the discourse at once. Sensing the avalanche, Disney tried to vanish in plain sight. The usual Leicester Square gala? Scrapped. Instead, a hushed castle screening in Segovia for fewer than 100 curated guests, many of them paid influencers. The Hollywood launch at El Capitan shrank to a daytime family showing with no live Q&A. LEGO quietly retitled its tie-in set Snow White and Friends, pushing the release to fall. Funko delayed its figurines indefinitely. By early April, premium screens bumped Snow White for a low-budget horror sleeper called Farmhouse. Headlines crowed, "Woke Princess Loses to Killer Goat Movie." 6 weekends later, the worldwide gross limped across $200 million. Analysts wrote obituaries. Meme accounts milked the last drops from empty seat maps. Inside Disney boardrooms, phrases like "rethink remakes" drifted through the air like distant thunder. So where did the poison seep in? Was it a script juggling too many talking points? A studio chasing modern so hard it lost the magic? Or a 23-year-old star handed a live microphone with no pause button? One lesson rings clear. Fairy tales can survive centuries, but they can't survive indifference. Those vacant seats were more than a statistic. They were a message. Ignore the audience long enough, and the audience will ignore you back. Disney has already signaled a strategic pause. A planned live-action Tangled is under story redevelopment. Insiders whisper the Lilo and Stitch remake may pivot to Disney+. Rachel Zegler now signs contracts containing social media conduct clauses once reserved for athletes. Still, Hollywood loves a comeback. Today's fiasco could be chapter 1 of a redemption arc. As viewers, we face our own mirror. We do want classics retold through fresh lenses, but we also want respect for the original enchantment, for the communities represented, and for our ability to sniff out cynicism. If a studio forgets that balance, no amount of CGI sparkle hides the cracks. And if you've stayed with this breakdown until the end, you've proved the point. Audiences will give their time when the story earns it. Snow White had every tool, yet it forgot to wield them. In Hollywood, that amnesia comes with a price, and no magic mirror can hide the bill. Was the film doomed from day one, or did a chain of self-inflicted wounds bury it deeper? Let me know below.